welcome to the Becoming Sovereign podcast put on by Sovereign. I'm your host, Brandon Karpeles, and this week we will have the second ever episode with two guests on, a last minute addition to the stable of guests here, and I'm glad, I'm excited. We have Paul in the jungle and Matt. I apologize. Just as you just joined, I don't even know your last name, even though in the jungle is not Paul's last name, but.
Here, I'll change my name is Director Hodl with
Okay.
this
Oh,
film.
sorry. All right. So we have Paul in the
It's really
Jungle and Director Hodl, and
yeah.
so no full names here. Um, Appreciate you guys coming on, and the reason I wanted to have you guys on, I last week recorded with Zach from IndieHub and had a long conversation about his journey into making films and sort of his view and everything for what he's building over at IndieHub and the platform and why he's trying to do it and the market signals it sort of brings back. And so I've been loving IndieHub. I think it's really cool, and so I've been checking out a bunch of the videos over there. And I heard you, Paul, actually. I think it was on Daniel Prince's podcast talking about the project. Maybe it was a different podcast, but talking about Hummingbird, and I had put that down as something I wanted to watch. I just a lot of the films on there are shorts, or 10, 15 minutes, and I can just, if I get a break or something during my day, I can click it on. But wanted to really take the time to block out the hour, I think it's an hour 20 or an hour and a half to watch Hummingbird and be able to fully appreciate it, not have to stop and start. And so I finally got the chance to watch it last week, and I thought, what cool timing to have Zach on and then to bring both of you guys on to talk about the film. And there's a lot of parts of the film that are Bitcoin centric and Bitcoin related and circular economy and those sort of things. But the there's a larger element of a mythological story and history and everything that goes along with that. And then there's this concept of putting the film up on a platform like IndieHub as well. So there's kind of all as with all things Bitcoin, right? There's like 8 topics all converging into one sort of thing. So first of all, Director Hodl and Paul, thank you guys for joining me today, and would love to hear how you guys, what was the sort of inspiration for this film? What were you initially trying to set out to do? And then I have a buddy who's a filmmaker, and I know a lot of people kind of in that space. And I think 99 times out of 100, they're like, oh, I wanted to start doing something on this, and then it morphed into that. And so I'm curious if you guys had the same thing and what led to the culmination of the final product of the movie.
That's exactly what happened. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Matt and I guess we'll just start when we met in Costa Rica. We met at a Bitcoin meetup, and there were that was what, 2022, early, something like
Yeah.
that. And we just started hanging out. We're friends. You meet at a Bitcoin meetup, you're like instantly connected with these people, right? And then we heard about Bitcoin Jungle going on, and I happened to move there a couple like months after we met, and Costa Rica was happening. And we kind of had this thought of like, hey, let's go see what's going on over there. I hadn't worked at all in the Bitcoin space. Matt had, and we kind of sought out to like maybe go film a 5 minute like hit piece about a circular economy, or circular, like just a Bitcoin economy, and like show what's going on, maybe find some sponsors for that. And then something else happened. People kept talking, and Matt, you could take it from there.
Yeah. I mean, we were there and we probably filmed 5 or 6 uh long interviews with people living in Bitcoin jungle. And fuck guys, sorry. This echo is driving me insane. Let me see if I can
Can you take
Okay,
off your headphones while you talk?
sorted.
Or
We were down there and we filmed a bunch of interviews, and one of the last interviews we filmed was with Francis Pulio, who's the founder of Bull Bitcoin. And he mentioned, like at the very end of the interview, he offhand mentioned this article that Richard Scottford, um, one of the main people to start the project up around early 2020s. Um, Francis mentioned this article that Richard had written called How Bitcoiners Can Be Shamans, or How Coders Are Shamans, or something like that. And he told us briefly about this mythology around the eagle and the condor, and how Bitcoin jungle was sort of this locus, this point where that prophecy was in some way coming to life. Um, and that like little idea sent me on like a big research campaign where I started learning about that prophecy and kind of going down this rabbit hole. So that was sort of the initial boost to go from, we had this idea to make a small little 5-minute thing to making a bigger thing, was definitely this introduction to the idea of the eagle and the condor.
Yeah, so for people that haven't seen the film, obviously I learned a lot about the eagle and the condor watching the film. I had heard of sort of the general mythology and those there's kind of general ideas across different cultures and things like that as it relates to the eagle and the condor. But why don't you explain a little bit what the actual mythology is behind the eagle and the condor?
Sure. Yeah. So it comes from an indigenous prophecy in from the Americas, that people don't really know the exact date, but at least thousands of years, starting with like the Mayan civilization, um, where those cultures, they had different systems of knowledge than we currently have, you could say, right? We are a very science forward culture. Um, we think very mechanically and mathematically and all that sort of things, but those cultures back then, like, sorry, and I'm speaking specifically in the Western world, but back then everything was rooted in spirituality, and the sort of understanding that we live in the esoteric side of life is a real actual force that is the um, sort of container for humanity to experience things within. So
Come on, man, we had the Enlightenment. We're over that now. Didn't you hear?
maybe not, right?
Quite a word they chose, huh? For that transition.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, they had this idea that history unfolded in different epochs, and each of those epochs lasted 500 years, and they're called Pachacutis. Um, and at some point, their best astrologers and their best sort of future seeing people, they saw that in the eighth or ninth Pachacuti, I think, that the eagle people would sort of take over the condor people. And that was in the year 1500. And the eagle people, they represent like an actual group of people, but they also represent a mentality. So the eagle mentality is more masculine, you could say. It's more logic, rationality, engineering, industry, building things, uh, technology, whereas the Condor is more rooted in nature, feminine, receiving, um, story, narrative, art. So almost even you could say sort of like left right brain if you like that metaphor. Um, and so just the sort of idea is that though those that mindset of um, industry and mechanical and engineering would overtake the Condor people to such a degree that the Condor mindset would pretty much go extinct. And that prophecy coincided with when Columbus came over to Central and South America and all that. Um, and so, in a way, it was fulfilled because the Europeans really dominated all of the indigenous people that were here, like connected to the land and everything. Um, and then the second part of the prophecy was that 500 years later, which is in our time, that the eagle and the condor would have a reunion and they'd come back together, and that there would a balance would be restored between the intellectual and the emotional, the intuitive and the rational. And so we're sort of in that time now, and the culmination of that is this hummingbird person, where they're sort of a new type of person that integrates those two archetypes in a more evolved way, you could say.
You went from literally trying to make a Bitcoin circular economy movie to changing the title to the mythos of the person that comes out of this this epoch. That's pretty cool. And so, would you say? I'm curious. So, as you go back, because in in the Bible, you have obviously Adam and Eve, and the feminine is represented by the serpent, and you have a lot of similar alliteration there, and or alliteration is probably not the word, metaphors and um, uh, iconography. That's not the right word. It's symbolism. There we go. That's the right word.
Sure.
So as you're kind of going through this, I'm curious, what did you kind of go on a journey yourself? How did you are you like, okay, I kind of see this forming, I see what they're believing. Is it like, well, okay, anyone could have seen this coming because humanity is always going to go through these cycles? I'm curious how you started viewing all this as you started digging, going down the rabbit hole of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Paul has a good answer to this too, but
Please, both of
I
you, yeah,
feel
go
like
for
a
it.
lot of Bitcoiners are simultaneously on a spiritual journey alongside their Bitcoin journey. And so finding this prophecy, it was, it spoke to a feeling in me that there was something bigger going on than just changing the properties of money, even though that's a big thing in itself, right? But there's, I feel like there's sort of this sense that we do live in a really special time in history where there's huge changes, and that it could go a lot of different ways. And maybe on the soul level, um, we have a drive to help guide it in a certain direction. Yeah. And and I think that's why Bitcoin feels so meaningful to people. It's because it's not just about you and your family, your lifetime. It's about you're kind of building the architecture or setting the groundwork for future the future of humanity, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
It's
I
like
we've
the
think
also
hippies the hippies like finally have tools to do what we've always wanted. I mean, I
It
use
was just
hippies very, very broadly, but like we finally have these tools to go and create societies that are more fair and equal. And Bitcoin like really enables that to have this neutral protocol for money transmission to really just create your own societies on an equal standard. And yeah, once you kind of grasp with that and like think about that for a long time, really kind of changes you. Like Matt said, there's something obviously deeper going on with Bitcoin, and it's definitely a spiritual journey. And I'm so glad that we were able to make a film that kind of puts language to that, puts a story behind it, um, that kind of makes sense, real world examples, and then how Costa Rica, just like where it kind of happened. There's this whale's tail that you see in the beginning down in Uvita, and like literally, it's like the north and the south coming together right there. It's like this. It's almost like parting the Red Sea. There's this when the tide is low, you can walk out and you can have water to the right and to the left of you. So it's a cool visual representation of it all happening. So yeah, it's a really cool story.
I've only heard whale tail referred to a woman wearing a thong with her pants too low, but it was much cooler to see the water version of that actually. But
Yes.
yeah, that well, another thing too, I was going to comment where you were going with the hippies have finally have their tools, is I, I think it's a combination of the stuff you guys are talking about. Something even deeper is that we bought time back to actually be spiritual, to have the time, right? To like step out. Cultures, to your point, exactly what you're talking about, forever until, the late 1700s, cultures viewed the world through a spiritual lens. And the quote unquote enlightenment, as I was sarcastically uh, referring to earlier, that we kind of lost all that, and we almost plugged into a system where we lost, I mean, what was a huge part of humanity. I mean, it was so significant in everyone's life for so long, and we stepped away from that, and then we declared ourselves enlightened and civilized, and yet we have more wars and more murder and more oppression and more poverty than there's ever been. And yes, there is the other side of it too. We have created incredible wealth, we have incredible technology, we have incredible civilizations as well, but something was lost. And it's uh, there's it's not a coincidence that Bitcoin, being able to get your time back, being able to transact outside of the quote unquote system that's been constructed, will ultimately lead to a desire to experience something spiritual, or even to go down a rabbit hole like you did, Director Hodl. That's what you did with your free time. So I think it kind of has to, they of course they go hand in hand.
Yeah, my friend, do you know Tomer Strolite?
I do. He was in the film as well. So yeah, I don't know him personally. Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
aware of him, but I do not know him personally.
he has in his, I can't remember which article, but he has a good way of putting it where like Bitcoin sort of breaks down um what you thought money was, and it opens you up to a new possibility around what money is. Um, and then that sort of sets you up for, maybe religion isn't what I thought it was. And maybe spirituality isn't what I thought it was. And then you go in and you read some things and you do this and that and you learn about it in your own way, right? So
And then it makes you even like you keep going, pulling on those same strings. It's I think why a lot of people are into health. I mean, look at you guys with your glasses on, and like we've had everything that nature provides all the that we need to survive and thrive, and yet we're living in a processed, artificial world. And I see a lot of Bitcoiners too going down, pulling down those strings and returning to yeah what's natural in terms of what they're feeding their bodies and how they're interacting with the world. Not everybody, but um, I think it's kind of the inevitable destination for Bitcoiners as we return to like truth.
Even just getting all sorts of junk products out of your house. I can't tell you how much stuff my wife has thrown out of our house and replaced with, you know, natural stuff, or even just, you know, basically threw out every single cleaning supply, and now we just have a big vat of vinegar and water that's
This
sitting
is the
around
way.
that
So,
cleans
so do
everything.
we.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it is,
Yeah.
yeah, the connection there. So I'm curious, did both of you guys, would you say you were, I guess, two parts. One, were you kind of experiencing this before Bitcoin and then got into Bitcoin and were sort of exploring more stuff in this world? Or and or after hearing about the eagle and the condor, did you go further? Did that start your journey? Curious when all this started for both of you guys.
For me, I've been like a seeker for a seeker or for quite a while. I had like a bit of a shift in 2019 where I started to get really into things like meditation and um yoga, eating healthy, um and looking for a practice, a spiritual practice. Um And so it pretty much coincided with my Bitcoin journey, I would say, because I got into Bitcoin in 2017. So it's kind of simultaneous. Um, and yeah, the eagle and the condor, the whole, alternative history of civilization is an interesting chapter to come across in everyone's sort of rabbit hole spiritual journey. So I was definitely ripe for that at that time when we started this 2.5 years ago. Um, yeah, I've ended up in a bit of a weird place with that. Um, I do,
That'll happen.
my thing, the path that ended up working with me best is Qigong, the, sort of like Chinese yoga. You've ever seen the like old people who move really slow in the parks? That's sort of
And
my thing.
non-drug addicts, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
In the
non-drug.
US here, I don't know how it is down there, but yeah.
Took me quite a long time to get there, but that's where I've sort of ended up on that seeking journey. Um,
Still want to go down that rabbit hole. I want to be able to feel chi move throughout my body. That'd
Yeah,
be
how about
awesome.
you, Paul? What's been your sort of journey experience along this line?
Yeah, the whole Bitcoin and health and everything, it happened at the same exact time for me because like in 2017 as well, I got like really sick, and I'm really grateful for that time in hindsight, but kind of had a full ego death. I had just graduated with a master's degree in organizational psychology. I was like ready to go take over the world in 24. And then boom, just landed on parents' couch with some sort of autoimmune-esque type situation. I couldn't walk for a month, lost like 20 pounds, and I was already skinny. My full identity was like, oh, I'm just like this baseball player, surfer, athletic guy, and I couldn't move at all. And then I was like, how the hell am I supposed to make money? And then so that's what got me into Bitcoin. I was like, trying to get rich like you do. But I made a promise because I understood compound interest, like, hey, never gonna sell this, never gonna ever see what happens, gonna write it. Um, but at the same time, I started going on the health journey, like how could I heal myself through diet? Because none of the other stuff was working. And just started rethinking everything that I was eating, was getting blood tests, and just started down that health journey as well. And then maybe something that kind of primed me for this too was I grew up. Um, I don't even know how to say. I just went to private Christian school and college, um, so I kind of had this whole Christian background throughout my life, and I think that kind of there's some link with Bitcoin there and how it, yeah, I mean, might
100%. I
get
was the same way.
accused of being
Yep.
in a cult, but
Yep.
I see as Bitcoin, the actual tool, is a way to bring equality to the world, and a lot of that Same with Christianity. Um, so like those three rabbit holes in one. It's just kind of every day I'd spend my time listening to podcasts and like lurking on Reddit or Twitter, um, going down the rabbit hole. But I didn't meet anybody until literally El Salvador, which I was in El Salvador right before I met Matt, and I met Bitcoiners there for the first conference. And yeah, where it landed today is just like, well, you can't unsee it. Um, and it's just like, oh, this is the most important thing for me to put my time towards. So might as well spend every day working towards it. And then of course the Nostra piece is another piece to that too. But um, yeah, that's where kind of where I landed. And then you look at mainstream right now. I know like Elon Musk and the premise in the beginning of the film may sound controversial to some, but it mentions ayahuasca and how Richard saw this vision through ayahuasca. And I haven't done it, neither has Matt, but um, there's a lot of people talking about that right now. Psychedelics are mainstream, and if it is this kind of ancient medicine, it's interesting that a lot of people are moving towards that now, which is major Condor energy. So it does feel like we're in a special time right now.
Yeah, I certainly have experience with psychedelics myself, and much more to go listen to music and that sort of thing. But along with that comes some personal reflection and journeys you go on. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's all part of that. So I'm curious, Paul. I had a very similar situation. I've talked about it way too many times on this podcast, so I won't rehash it, but had all sorts of health issues, autoimmune stuff, and
Oh, really.
basically cured it all with diet. And so I'm curious for you, how long did it take you to recover from that? Did you notice yourself slowly getting better? What was that like?
Yeah, so it was like a month in hell on the couch, not moving. I don't know what cured it. It might have just been kind of time. And like the 2 months after the month of really not being able to move, low fever every day too is like scary. Um, Almost just kind of forcing my way through it, just going back to the gym, like the rock climbing gym I had, and just moving around, just doing it, even through the pain, um, and moving. And my diet or anything wasn't that perfect since then or anything, but it was maybe just a flare up and just a necessary thing that nature threw at me at that time. And definitely way more aware now. But there wasn't a specific thing for you. Was there something specific that you were able to find, track down, pinpoint, and figure out?
Yeah, when I took sugars and grains out of my diet, I it was like a week and I felt 80% better.
Well,
Wow.
And yeah, it was pretty
any sugar,
crazy. No sugar, none. No
like no fruit.
fructose, no fruit, nothing. Yeah, so I was basically just eating meat and vegetables. That's it. And
Have you been able
it,
to reintroduce fruit or anything?
so I still don't
Or you,
really eat fruit. I have dessert like less than 5 times a year, usually on the big holidays, and I do drink some. Ben Justman sent me down the natural wine rabbit hole, so I
oh yeah,
started getting into some natural wines, and so I'll have a little sugar from the grapes and stuff like that. But even if you're doing natural wines, a lot of the commercial wines they add sugar to the wine, which is why
yeah,
people
yeah.
feel like even worse. And so
Mm.
having a few glasses of natural wine a night on the weekend is I can tolerate that. But yeah, the
Nice.
main parts are getting out the sugar and the carbs. And then next I went down the seed oils rabbit hole. And I mean, this was in like 2015, 2016, and then was
Oh, you
like,
were
okay,
early.
I need to get these out of my diet. And yeah, there was a guy named Vinny Tortorich who has been talking about seed oils for decades. He was a trainer for actors in Hollywood, and so he kind of knew all these secrets to get actors in shape for these movies, and that the food pyramid was a scam and all that. And then seed oils was kind of like the next thing that like got me to like 95% better pretty quickly. So it was those three things: sugars, grains, and seed oils, and it was like all of my issues were gone.
I'm curious if you're able to like reintroduce some organic fruit
Oh
that's
yeah,
local
I
to
can
you or
eat that
anything.
stuff now.
Yeah.
I can definitely tolerate that. Even if if I used to love making pies, and I have made, and so I'll make pies every now and again. I'm like, if I'm making a whole pie, I'm gonna have some of this. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I can do a slice every now and again. I'll feel like a little, puffy and phlegmy, but it's tolerable. But if
Yeah.
I definitely couldn't compound that for sure.
And
So, but every now
once
and
you
again
get
I
to a
can,
better
yeah.
and once you get to like a better state, sticking to a diet, it doesn't feel like work. It's just like,
No,
oh, that makes me feel like shit. That doesn't.
It's because
Like,
because all your bacteria in your gut are they're influencing your craving for that good stuff, right?
yeah, exactly.
percent. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I see bread now, and I legitimately don't want it. I'm like, that doesn't look good to me. Like, when's the carpaccio getting here? Like,
Yeah. I've
Well,
been on a
Paul, I think
tartare
is in Italy
carpaccio
right
kick.
now.
Yeah, I've
yeah,
been on a
So
tartare and carpaccio kick for sure.
yeah.
And
Wife and I
then
are going out for Italian tomorrow night, and looking for, or sorry, Thursday night, 2 nights. Looking forward to it.
nice.
Yeah. All right.
That's
Well, so this is kind of like a Bitcoin podcast, so we should probably
yeah,
talk a
it's all
little
part of
more.
it.
Yeah, well, it is all part of it, and that's what's so cool about Bitcoin is, and why these podcasts are successful and people like them, because there's 80 different topics you can pick and choose from and focus on. And
yeah,
so one of the super cool things about the movie and what you guys are doing and living down in Costa Rica is this circular economy. So I know it's shown in the movie, and you interview people and talk about it, but I'm curious as to one thing that you didn't get into the movie, and definitely not saying you should have. I don't think you need to, but I'm curious about is what was the history of that? Sort of how did it start? How did it get like planted there? How did the adoption go? What did it take? Now there are a couple main characters in the movie who certainly helped spearhead it. I'll let you guys talk about that as well, though. So
One part that's interesting that I like to mention is that wasn't mentioned in the movie was that Lee used to walk around with cash to cash out vendors after the farmers market. So like, oh here, take sats risk free, and just give them back to me if you want. Because like the problem that was solved is that all these people at the market they don't have credit card machines, fees, annoying, expensive, blah blah blah, inconvenient. So like, oh yeah, just accept Bitcoin and people can come down and spend it. And yeah, so Lee used to walk around with cash. Now Francis comes along and he adds a off ramp with Bull Bitcoin. So now people can accept the Bitcoin and sell it right away in case they didn't want to be exposed to volatility and whatnot. But we did kind of cover in the movie how it got started. It was like we said, Richard's brainchild, and then a couple key characters coming together. And it started at a market, which is Bitcoin's natural habitat. Um, and it's just like, hey, my neighbor's accepting Bitcoin. There's a few people that will spend it. Like, okay, yeah, it's just a third currency. Like, everybody down there already holds their savings mostly in US dollars, and they accept US dollars and colones and cash as well. And so it's like, okay, here's a third option with another story to it. So it's almost like that simple. And it's like, oh, my friends are using it. It wasn't like this hardcore onboarding thing. It's just like, well, I mean, it was a little bit, but and it still is. Um, but the fact that there's actually Bitcoiners there to spend it, and that makes it all happen as well.
I'm
yeah.
so
And
that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and it also extends beyond just the farmers market in Uvita and Dominical. Like the shops around town also accept it. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
It's that. So I'm curious. Do you think, because that's one of the things I was curious about was, I mean, it's really being used as a medium of exchange down there as opposed to a store of value, but when it's being used as a medium of exchange, obviously these people selling their goods and stuff, they're not, I'm sure they have some savings, but a lot of it is, hey, I am selling my produce, my meats, my eggs, so I can go pay for my rent, for my electricity bill, et cetera, et cetera. And so, do you think without that sort of option to go into cash, either via Bull Bitcoin or actual physical cash that Lee was handing out, do you think it would have actually ever caught on?
I don't know. To me, it there needs to be an off ramp because we can't just go zero to the circular economy.
For
I mean,
sure.
I wish we were pricing everything in sats and just
Well,
forgot about fiat down there. But
that's
um,
kind of why I bring it up, right? Is
yeah,
because I think there's a lot of we want to do this circular economy. We want to have these things succeed. We really want to see it, but unfortunately, I can't go pay my heating bill with
yeah,
sats yet. I can't pay my mortgage with sats yet. There's some tools and there's, you can sell a little bit of Bitcoin, but again, that's going into cash. Whether you're
yeah.
borrowing to get into cash or you're selling to get into cash, you still have to go back to cash. And
Mhm.
personally, I hate it, but I think it has been a hindrance to sort of getting these circular economies off the ground is kind of that
Well,
exit.
it's why it didn't work that well in El Salvador. So Costa Rica
Right, right.
is way more banked, and they already have like a digital fiat, like that off ramp that Francis made. Like 95 plus, maybe even almost 100% of the people have this thing called SinPay, and it's just like a phone number attached to your bank account. Whereas in El Salvador, they didn't have that, so it wasn't easy to swap, as easy to go back and forth. So I think that's kind of the reason why it works. It's kind of taken off more organically down there. So yeah, it's huge.
Hmm.
Yeah, I found that when I'm talking to people, whether it's bartenders or Uber drivers or whatever, and they're always like, "So what can I do with this?" And it's like, "Well,
Exactly. Well,
and
now
yeah,
with Square,
yeah. Well, yeah, that's even
that's the first thing my buddy, I got him on Primal. I just zapped him $10 because I could, just to blow his mind. And he's like, "All right, what can I do with this?" Well,
yeah, that's always the question. So like, can I they're like, "Can I pay for stuff with this?" And then you're like,
mhm,
"Well, yes, but they got to be accepting Bitcoin." But really, what they're
yeah.
asking is like, "Can I get dollars or pesos or yen
Well,
with this?" So
here's an interesting anecdote. It's just like right now, before I hopped on this podcast, I just bought a flight. But actually, instead of buying it, I just gave Bitcoin to, because I'm full on, crazy 100% Bitcoin guy. Um, I gave
same,
Bitcoin
same.
to Laura's parents, who bought the flight for me, and they're actually flying to Costa Rica tomorrow. I fly on the 13th, and it's just money. Like, okay, here, yeah, here's this. You can spend it down there. It's a really good price right now, and um,
Yeah,
yeah, like you'll be able to spend it. So it's just so much. It just makes more sense. Like you bring people down there and you show them, like, boom, magic internet money, milk. It blows people's minds every time. So that's why even for in the U.S. with Square turning on Bitcoin transactions and everything, even if they don't even accept Bitcoin, you just like bringing it out and showing the vendor you're doing this or your friend. It just like gets the brain churning a little bit.
yeah. When I tell people that I buy a portion of my goods in Bitcoin, they think it's insane. They laugh. They're like, "Yeah, I got
Yeah,
my hair cut for Bitcoin," and they're like, "Oh, that's cute." I'm like, "No, like, and
yeah.
actually, it works as money." Yeah. So
Over and over and over again, you got to keep showing it. I think. I mean, that's what I do.
yeah, exactly. So what has been sort of the because along with that, right? We're talking about this sort of unfortunate need to get back into fiat or to the traditional system, whatever you want to call it, to pay for some things where people just aren't straight up aren't accepting Bitcoin. What's kind of the tenor of the people down there? Are they like, this is the future of money, and I'm saving everything I have, I'm keeping it in Bitcoin, and then the rest, the rest I need to live, I'm just using that, or are they more like, hey, this is a rail for me to as an intermediary step to get back to the money I need, and I'm gonna save in that money anyways. I'm just using the rails of this system.
It's probably a little bit of both. Maybe more of the Rails, which isn't a bad thing either.
No,
Um, but then we have a couple. We have like classes going on, Me Premier Bitcoin stuff, and we have a couple like key people in the like this lady Gabby, she's teaching everybody about Bitcoin because she's been in Bitcoin for a while, and she's like this lady that just sells things at the market, and she's really enthused about it and everything. So yeah, that kind of spreads slowly, but I think right now it's more just like a Rails just making it work, and maybe saving when you can, whatnot.
Hmm. It'd be interesting to get because Francis and Lee, they have a little bit of a sense of like the actual numbers of who, how, what portion of the vendors are keeping everything in Bitcoin and stuff like that. So should touch base with them and see how that's all going. Because last time I can't remember what the numbers were, but last time they told us, I was like, wow, that's really great. It was definitely positive in terms of acceptance and savings. So yeah, we should get an
I
update
think,
on that.
yeah, I know one like the restaurant that's like the best restaurant down there. He's like, yeah, I haven't sold a thing, but I don't know where he's at now. Um, so yeah, it'd be kind of interesting to get their takes about it. Sometimes you walk, I accidentally see like a little balance. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're stacking.
Yeah.
A lot of
That'll be
sats there. Let's go.
it'll be
We could get you a
Hummingbird
hardware
2
wallet.
Hummingbird too.
Hummingbird. Yeah.
Yeah.
when the Bitcoiners finally decide to fund us. You know.
Yeah, the whole film was just out of Matt's pocket, basically, just passion project to the max. Um,
Well, I think I recouped 108 sats a minute, so whatever that math is when I when
appreciate
streaming
you.
Nice.
to you. So
Appreciate that.
yeah, or I mean, it people. I know I talked about it last week, but people really should go check out IndieHub, INDEE Hub Studio. It's such a cool site. So how did you guys get connected with Zach, or did you know about it before, or and then what was not so I'm in the process of introducing Zach to a buddy of mine. He's made some documentary films, some actually kind of well-known ones out there. And my pitch to him was sort of, hey, he's values aligned with you, A, number one, but B, number two, you can kind of just put your movie up here, and why not? Like, why wouldn't you just add it there? Um,
Yeah.
Curious as to your thoughts, Director Hodl, as to that sort of ecosystem and how you view putting your movie up there and everything.
Yeah. We felt, I mean, the typical roadmap of making a, a movie or a documentary is you kind of go shoot it, you edit it, then you get it, hope to get into a festival, a big festival like Cannes or whatever, right? And then from there, yeah, from there you'll have buyers. So like people from Netflix are sitting in the audience, people from Amazon or whatever, or Fox, they'll make a bid on your film and they'll buy it from you and they'll get the distribution rights. That's sort of the typical um, move. And I don't know, with this, we just felt that it came from such a just out of the spirit of Bitcoin that it didn't really feel right to do that whole path. And and then this indie hub came along like 4 or 5 months ago. I can't remember how we met. Paul introduced me in the beginning. I can't remember how Paul met him. Um, but we're like, yeah, let's like put it up there and see how it goes. Get it out to a couple people and like it felt very in the spirit of the film to put this film that's all about Bitcoin out on a platform built on Nostr and Bitcoin. And, hopefully we can get a little buzz around Indie Hub and now maybe your friend will like get a chance to take a look at it and consider putting something on there. And the great thing about something like that is if Indie Hub serves as a model for more indie hubs or people who want to build something like that, even for themselves, to just do a one-off thing, um, there's no gatekeepers, right? So I just watched that film, The $6 billion Man. I don't know if you heard about that.
Watching it on Saturday, so
You watched it?
yeah, I contributed to the
Oh,
film.
great.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
spent the
me
first
too.
25 minutes switching through web browsers to find one that actually worked, but finally I got Safari was the only one that would play it on my computer. I don't think I've ever used Safari on my
Yeah.
MacBook, but yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it's a great film, well done, and but he won all these huge festivals and none of the streamers would take it because it was too politically toxic or whatever for them, right? Not in their window. So yeah, if this model can work, then we can get more films that are a little more cutting edge to come to the surface, you know. Um, but it's hard, you know. There's not that many Bitcoiners, and there's not that many people that want to spend Bitcoin. And the marketing arm of Bitcoin films is pretty can be counted on a couple fingers. So it's a long way to go, but ultimately optimistic.
It is really tough, and I talked to Avi Burra about this, the everything he was doing, and Avi puts out just incredible content, and it's really good. And I mean, he is incredibly talented and creative, and just trying to find a way to get people to contribute and spend their sats and everything. And I mean, even something like the $6 billion man, I don't ultimately know. And because it was live, they did like an old school premiere. Because it was live, you couldn't pause it or do anything. And so the credits rolled a little too fast. I saw the Bitcoin producers and I tried to look at it, do some napkin math, but I couldn't really tell. I was really wished I could pause and count them up and sort of do some math
Yeah.
of how much money was contributed to it. But even still, I mean, it looked like it was probably, let's say, 50 to 100 people. So you're talking maybe 50 grand that was given to that
Yeah.
film. So, and that had Jack Dorsey behind it and Matt Odell and some very big
Hmm.
names talking about it, promoting it. And even the director is a very Eugene Jarecki is a well-known guy who's been around the industry
Yeah.
forever. And it was still very difficult for them to it seemed, at least, I could be wrong, but it seemed like it
Hmm.
was difficult for them to fundraise. But
There might have been more because I did it sort of on the day, so I wasn't in the credits on that cut. So there might have been a bunch of people that went last minute as well. Um, but yeah, I know you got to start somewhere, you know. So I think that's what we felt with IndieHub is like, let's just put it on there, and in the next couple of weeks, we're definitely gonna do like a YouTube premiere, like a YouTube release to a broader audience for free. So yeah, it's we were in the Bitcoin Film Fest, so that was great. Paul was over in Poland, and
Warsaw.
I think we're gonna submit it to other like normal festivals, and just to get more of a different, diverse, you know, people perspectives looking at it, and maybe it sparks someone to get interested in Bitcoin. You know.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's always been my thought, and the same thing with Noster, is that it's going to take some huge names, some huge movies, some massive personality to just say, this is the only way you can watch it. This is the only way you can, um,
Mhm.
if you took someone like, um, I mean, let's just say Elon Musk. I mean, obviously, that's just a horrendous example because it would never even come close to him. But okay, like someone like Joe Rogan. Okay,
Yeah.
let's say like Joe Rogan was just like, hey, he announced on his podcast, I'm done with X, I'm done with Instagram. The only way you're gonna find me is Nostr. So if you want my content, you got to come over to Nostr. That's it. Like, in my opinion, that's the only way this succeeds. And I don't know if you guys have heard of Henrik Lyman. He's a Swedish musician. He's basically hosting all of his own stuff. And he's like, you want to come listen to my music, you got to come through like my website. You got to come through the Fountain app. Um, and
Maybe I've seen
basically
that
saying like,
name on Nostr somewhere. Actually, that's cool.
yeah.
That's
And
really
so,
cool.
yeah. And so it I've always been of the belief it's going to take some monumental, like mega star or mega movie to kind of like plug in and be like, the only way you get access is this way. And like, it, that's always been like the missing link for me. But I don't know. Curious. It's hard, right? We don't have the answers. We don't know. We all want this to succeed. We want the value for value verse to succeed, and it is really cool when it does. And um, Paul, I think you were at the concert in Vegas, and
Oh yeah, how cool
seeing,
is that?
oh, incredible, and just
I mean,
seeing all
this stuff's
yeah,
been thought
yeah,
about for decades, and
yeah.
it's
It's
here
hard.
now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it's like actually
But we
here
have
and
the
we're using it.
tools. Yeah,
Yeah. And Matt is on the forefront of the music scene as well. He's worked with Wave Lake. He's got his stuff on there, and has done some value for value stuff there too. But like streaming money, that's so cool. I remember back in 2017 when I was shitcoining, John McAfee was like, "Oh, red coin is gonna be the way you tip people on YouTube or something like that." And I was like, "Yeah, that's so cool." But now we're doing it with Bitcoin.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and of course, it's still a little bit early for that and making it easy, but it's gotten way easier. So, but I do agree with your thought about like a Joe Rogan, somebody that maybe even like a Rick Rubin. I was just at his festival.
There you go.
I
Better
just saw
example.
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just saw Eugene as
He
well.
he
What?
could pull it off.
Yeah, Rick Rubin would be the perfect Noster only. Oh,
yeah,
I'm manifesting it. He's friends with Jack and everything too. Um,
yeah.
but that'd be cool to have Rick Rubin archive on Noster. That'd be perfect. um, but yeah, that one person that doesn't really need to be anywhere because their name's so iconic and just comes over like this is the only place you can find me. That'd be huge, and I'm manifesting that every day and night. Because going
Yeah.
after people and like paying them just doesn't feel right either.
No.
We haven't done that at Primal. It's just not right. Um, we may do that, but like, yeah, waiting for that one big one. Odell was big, but just in a very niche community, and now he's back on Twitter because he has to be there. you
Yeah.
know, um, so
Way too niche, and
yeah,
I
way
love
too
Matt,
niche.
but yeah, he's not Kim Kardashian. So
No,
yeah.
maybe another cool one I was thinking about. It's on my bucket list. Is like Keanu Reeves. I think he's like super private, doesn't do anything on any socials. Like such a cool guy. But what if he just like started posting on Nostr?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Things
yeah.
like
This
that.
is my gift to the world as
Yeah,
I want to leave my legacy behind that I was
yeah,
Naster only. Yeah.
yeah. So many of these
But
people like to
even
be good.
even just like a groundswell of somewhat popular writers and artists and musicians, like it's the perfect platform where you can post a little thing like and get paid. Like what
And
more could you ask for as a
and
as a writer? Like
I completely agree. And I know we're talking a lot about Nostr here, but Nostr is really just the protocol that allows the payment to be seamlessly made, and like Bitcoin's the actual payment protocol. And so it doesn't even have to be like a Nostr thing. It's like a
mhm.
streaming
Yeah.
a Bitcoin thing because IndieHub, right? You don't I think you can have a Lightning wallet even if you sign in with email. So you could sign in with your email. You don't necessarily need Nostr, and then you could still load up a Lightning wallet. And so there's still a
Mm-hmm.
way to have the monetary streaming and the monetary flow without Nostr,
Yeah.
even though Nostr is far superior for doing that. But yeah,
Hmm.
there's money coming in here, guys. Come on, like yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like watching your wallet buzz, like bzz, 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 that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I even watching my wallet drain in the bottom
Yeah,
corner as
yeah.
I'm watching a movie,
You got
watching
to
the
click out
sats
of that.
flow out. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, I like it because
Maybe
I'm a
like
masochist. But
MIA, that like rapper
I just,
musician lady,
yeah,
Mia,
because
yeah, yeah,
she's big on freedom and stuff. Like you need someone like that to organize like a concert or something and bring a bunch of musicians together to get one big splash. And it's I feel so disappointed in the artists, man. Like you're supposed to be like s- going against the grain as an artist, right? But so few artists are into Bitcoin. I don't know a single big artist into Bitcoin. And it Eugene Jarecki, probably like the biggest name I've seen. Like, and I don't understand why. I cannot understand why if you're making anything on the cutting edge that is advocating for new ways of doing things,
Well,
anti this, anti that.
suit coin just
It's
kind of took
embarrassing
over
that
the
you're not using
culture.
Bitcoin.
I know, right? Well, that's our job is like the culture, Bitcoin culture. What is it? Is it suits? Is it surfers? Is it rappers, musicians, skaters? Um, yeah,
Skate, yeah, it's perfect for the skaters too.
we've got some big skaters now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Was
and
it
big surfers too, but like, they're not, it's not their main thing. Like that's our job. It's our main thing to like, bring about. And it's like their side thing. So I get it. Like they're not just going to be on podcasts 40 hours a week ripping Bitcoin, but um, it'll
but they
happen.
could accept it for surf lessons, or
Yep.
isn't like every surfer required to be a surf lesson giver as well? Isn't that like the whole
Pretty much.
economy? Yeah, yeah. So, well, I also wasn't Jay-Z big into Bitcoin at one time?
Yeah.
Or okay,
Yeah. He's close with Jack and they did a thing with Africa at one point.
yeah.
I forget
Imagine a
exactly what that
Jay-Z
was.
concert. It like,
Yeah, but like
you know,
streaming sats, like having oh man.
that's what I mean. Yeah, have
Yeah.
like a sat streaming Jay-Z concert. I'm sure he could do Soldier Field here in Chicago. Like, I
We're
mean,
either going to
it's
look so smart or so dumb,
yeah.
looking back on these times, like, oh my gosh, these guys built the infrastructure to make all this happen. What legends. When nobody was there, and one day is just what we do.
Well, it's bit that's Bitcoin, right? Like you feel
Yeah.
so rich and so poor at the same time. You feel so smart and so dumb. You feel
Oh
like
my gosh.
so advanced, and then you feel so prehistoric. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's a wild bipolar ride.
We're fight. Yeah. Then the Nostr thing, it's like we're fighting two major network effects at one time, Bitcoin and social media. Like,
Yeah.
you know, but somebody has to go first.
Yeah, well, to your point, I mean, I've never been more disappointed in artists than after the whole COVID thing. I mean, guys, like,
exactly.
oh, where were you? You guys were supposed to be the ones
Where
yeah, speaking out against power, pushing
exactly?
back, and like, I mean, I remember the Grateful Dead in like the '60s. They would just go in the middle of the street and start playing a concert, and they'd be like, "What are you gonna do about it, man?" And then Grateful Dead in 2020, they're telling you to get your ninth vaccine and like wear 8 masks, and it's
Yeah.
just like, what
I
happened
know,
to you
like
guys?
I truly do not understand, especially with the COVID thing, how so few artists spoke out. It's like it was like the most obvious thing to speak out against.
Yes.
Like you couldn't have a better thing to press up against.
Not only
Like,
did they not speak out, you had someone like Eric Clapton who came out. He's like, I took the vaccine. My hand doesn't work anymore. I think it messed me
yeah,
up. And they were like, You're a heretic. Cancel this guy from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now he's like the 900th best guitarist ever. He always sucked at guitar. It's like, God, what? The guy, his like hand is destroyed from taking this thing. Like, what? He's just telling you what happened. Like,
yeah,
I,
Well, the
it
culture
was,
has shifted a lot. Like we did turn the food pyramid
it's true.
upside down, and
or
it's just like about providing these alternatives in a seamless way. These bridges.
we are making some
It's true.
changes.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
are. We definitely are. And I mean, I've actually been very happy with how disgusted almost everyone I talk to about like the Iran war, about the Epstein files. Like it's been almost everyone I've talked to, like both sides of the aisle, they're like, what's going on? Like, what's going on with the Epstein files? Why are we fighting this war? It's like, oh yeah, because these people hate us and they don't ever have best interest at heart. So I will anecdotally say it's been refreshing to see some, like, just some general, what the hell's going on here? Like, why are we putting up with this?
Yeah.
But
I think I've come to peace with like it happens for everyone at their time, on their own time, you know, where they start to question these things. And you can't force it on people. So you can't force Bitcoin on people. You can't force them to be interested in Noster. So it's just a time thing.
Maybe we can get them to watch a movie
yeah,
where
right.
we
Or go
kind
to a
of
concert. Yeah.
yeah, we kind of explained in the movie too. There's this whole Gladstein segment about like how, fiat funds wars and inequality and why the global south is the global south and why, the eagle countries have the power right now. Um, so there's just another story.
Yeah, we just need to
Hmm.
keep getting as many of these stories out, right? Ultimately,
Hmm.
I say all these things about, like, I'm excited about seeing a change, and then I also go to the airport and I don't see one person other than my family opt out of the eyeball scan. So,
Yeah, dude, every time.
you know,
It's just a good
yeah,
practice, like, you know,
yeah,
just to flex those non-compliant muscles every once in a
yeah.
while.
Well, it's funny. I can't remember if I've told the story on here or not, but I went up to the one guy, and he was like indignant with me. He goes, what do you mean you don't want to do this? I said, no, I don't. He was like, we have cameras everywhere. They can see you. And then I go,
Yeah,
then
no.
why do you need this one? And
Oh, nice.
he was like,
I've had that same response. Like, they're gonna get you anyways, just do it. It's like,
yeah, then why are you doing this? Like, why do we need
yeah,
this? Like,
I'm gonna
I
use
know
that
why you need
response
this,
next
because
time.
you're training Palantir models to put an
That's the
arrow in my
scary one.
back
I don't know
one
where to
day.
draw the
Yeah.
line on that one. Like, I want to be able to travel. I need to go surf every wave in the world, right? Like, that's freaking tough.
It's a massive trade-off. It's horrible.
Yeah,
It's even worse than in my opinion, I've talked about a lot on here, the sort of fiat trade-off. How do you live in this kind of bridge period where we're changing monies at a very slow rate? Like, how do you keep your ethics and morals about you? But
yeah.
we're in the process of buying a home, and there's no way we would be able to buy a bigger home than the one we currently live in without a mortgage. Like, just not. I mean, I guess actually we would, like, just have to sell absolutely everything we have, and then we could do it. But that's a bad decision too. And so you're in these ethical quandaries, and traveling, or even just using your phone. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, what how do you handle all that? And it really does suck. Like, it's awful, because you do want to see the world. You do want to have these experiences. I mean, going to Bitcoin conferences, the going to see Prague last year when I went to that conference, and going with my wife and my kid to Vienna beforehand. And I mean, it was just a magical once in a lifetime experience. And it's like, okay, am I going to not have that experience with my family because I didn't want to have my passport scanned and some guy stamp it? Like, it's
Yeah,
tough.
that's the tough decisions.
Yeah, it sucks we have to make these decisions now. But I don't know what the world looks like decades from now, but I appreciate guys like you that are building in this space, that are putting the infrastructure and putting the pipes in. To your point, like you said earlier, Paul, like, we're here. We have the tools. Like, we're starting to be able to do this, and you can. And now I think the next step is you just make it better than the current system, right? Like, it just needs to flow better, and we'll get there eventually. Like, it just needs to work better. It needs to be easier. It needs to be, one of the biggest pains about Netflix, Amazon Prime, right, is like signing up for an account, changing it. Maybe you want your family, but imagine if you just were able to play whatever you want, and then a QR code popped up, and you were like, done and done.
Mhm.
Or a
That's the
QR
UX.
code.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even a QR code popped up and it's like, okay, now you have unlimited access for the next 30 days or something. Like once the UX gets better than these, I think that'll be a huge part of advancing forward too.
Yeah. It's got to be like 10x better too to maybe even make a shift with the consumers.
Yeah, I guess right. Like Netflix was 10x better than Blockbuster, so
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah, maybe we need something similar on the s- streaming side or the SATS payment side or whatever you want to call it. But awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate both of you guys' time. Uh, Paul, Director Hodl, one, any last thoughts? And is there anything on deck for either of you? And then let people know where they can find you. So I guess that's like three things.
I already forgot.
Final thoughts.
On
What's next?
Well,
Where can they find you?
final thoughts for me are just when I think about why I got into Bitcoin in the first place, it's because I watched a bunch of videos, I listened to a bunch of podcasts, read a bunch of books and all that. And, I hope this movie can be one of those things for somebody at some point on their journey. And that as a community, we just got to keep pumping the stuff out from every angle we can possibly think of, to make those little bridges for people and just keep going, because you never know who will see it and it'll change their life and they'll go down the rabbit hole. So I guess just yeah, just encouragement to make things and keep it going.
Where can people find you, good sir?
I am Director Hodl on Primal, Noster, and on Twitter as well, but I haven't been using Twitter in a long time, so Primal's best.
getting fried running Twitter accounts.
and
It's
in
crazy.
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Final thoughts. Yeah, if you do end up watching the film, it's a good one to watch with friends and family. Um, you can find me at Paul in the Jungle on Instagram, Noster, and the Philosophy on Twitter if you're still there. But yeah, of course, find me on Primal.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to add one more thing as well.
Please.
Please feel free to take the film and bring it to your local Bitcoin meetup and have it be an excuse to get people together, because that's where I feel this film works really well. Is like, oh, there's this new Bitcoin movie, let's bring a bunch of people, and then invite some people that maybe have never been introduced to Bitcoin, kind of thing. And you can show them the movie and then maybe give them a little lightning wallet, set them up with Primal or something. I have a vision of it being a sort of good introductory thing for people. So yeah.
So I was just about to say, to that extent, the movie's great to just show to your friends and family, even if they're not Bitcoin. It's just a cool story. And
Mm-hmm.
so just have people sit around and watch the story of the history of this myth along with the circular economy. And hey, you're going to learn about another part of the world that you've probably never seen or heard of before. And so what cooler way to do it than checking out this doc? So
Awesome. Appreciate that.
awesome. Appreciate both your guys' time. As always, you can find me on Noster Plavienon and my real fiat name, Brandon Karpeles, on LinkedIn. If you want to find me there, you
Whew.
can check Sovereign out. I know, it's bad. It's a legacy account. It is what it is. Um, uh, Best place to reach out though is just the website Sovereign SOVREIGN.io and reach out to us and we'll get back to you. So thank you guys so much for your time today and really enjoyed talking with you.
Thanks so much, Brandon. It was great.